State Capitol on another cold night at Coors Field. The Rockies getting ready to take on the Astros, and the lights are green for Todd Helton to return to the lineup. He'll be in his customary number 3 spot in the batting lineup for the Colorado Rockies. That'll be great to see after missing the last 14 games. Good evening, everybody. Happy as always that you're along. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies getting ready to take on the Houston Astros, a team that's off to their best mark in franchise history. They're at 19-9. Of course, last year they played in the World Series. It's a very talented team, not only offensively but also on the hill. They have some of the best young pitching in baseball. We'll talk more about that as this series develops. Let me bring in my partner Jeff Hughes, and I want to talk about the middle of their lineup. Morgan Ensberg and Lance Berkman. These two are two of the better power hitters in the National League.
Well, they are, and the Astros have one of the best middle of the order as far as production. You look at Lance Berkman here. Right now he leads the major leagues with 36 RBIs. He's just phenomenal because he can hit from both sides of the plate. And Morgan Ensberg, the all-star third baseman, is just a prototypical third baseman, can hit for power. Since the beginning of the 2005 season, he leads all National League third basemen with home runs. So we got a couple good third basemen going tonight.
Well, we got a good pitcher on the mound for the Colorado Rockies, at least based on his last performance down in Florida. Byung-Hyun Kim was terrific. Pitched into the 7th inning, and he had a dominant performance, striking out 9.
Well, he did, and I think the Rockies are looking for the same type of performance today. What was impressive about that is he threw over 70 pitches for strikes, and he's looking to continue that dominating performance tonight against an Astros team that's a little bit better offensively than what he faced with the Marlins, but still could be a good matchup.
It's going to be a big test for the Rockies. These 3 against Houston, then it's off to St. Louis, and then they'll see the Astros down at their place. Helton is back. Let's not forget, he's close to 350 on the season. Rockies and Astros come on back to court. Grab life by the horns by Affleck. Ask about it at work. By Southwest Airlines, with more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. And by the Rocky Mountain Refreshing Coors Light. Taste the cold. Well, you got to keep warm somehow. Lance Berkman showing off the Irish in his background, I guess. They're having a lot. You know, when you're 19-9, you have a lot of fun when you come to the ballpark, right?
Skipping rope in there in the dugout. Orlando Palmero told me they had a good time before the game starts. That's for sure.
I guess so. They've been having a good time once the game's over. Also, 19-9 for the Astros. The Rockies tied for first with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who've been coming on strong of late. There at 16-13. Here we go. Byung-Hyun Kim misses up high to Craig Biggio. Boy, has he been a pain in the neck to the Colorado Rockies through the years. How about this? A 408 lifetime average at Coors Field.
The good leadoff hitters do that, but he's been a pain in the side to a lot of teams during his career.
Well, he's closing in on 2,900 career hits. More than 600 doubles in his great career. And he hits this pretty well to left center field. Holiday should have room. I'll tell you what, there must be some wind up there. This man had to drift hard late towards center field. Biggio's retired. Here's the rest of the Astros lineup for scrap iron. Phil Garner. Willie Taveras, good-looking young player, second in the National League Rookie of the Year voting a year ago. Then Lance Berkman, Morgan Ensberg. Jeff told you all about those two. Preston Wilson, the former Rockies, batting in the 5-hole. Jason Lane, 6. Brad Ausmus off to a great start offensively. Adam Everett, and then the pitcher Taylor Buchholz. And the first pitch out of the strike zone to Taveras, the young center fielder, at 296. Phil Garner was bragging on him before the ball game. He said, you know what? This guy, in a couple of years, people around baseball are going to say this is one terrific player.
He can flat out go get it in center field, and he's learning, and he's in a perfect situation to hit second because he's got Biggio in front of him, Berkman behind him, Ensberg. It's a good place to hide a young guy.
The Astros are coming off a nice 4-3 win yesterday over the St. Louis Cardinals. They're beginning a 7-game road trip. It's kind of strange. They're going to play 3 here, 3 in Los Angeles, then run up to San Francisco and play 1. A makeup game for a ball game they missed earlier this year when they had a couple rained out in San Francisco against the Giants. But for Houston, They've played only 10 road games so far. They're 5-5. That's the fewest in the National League. 2-2 to Taveras. Swung on and missed. Foul tip actually held by Danny Ardouin. And BK has the first two in the book. Let's take a look at his numbers, Jeff.
Well, BK, you know, he's done a great job. He's got a fastball into the 90s, that sinker change. But what makes him unique is that sidearm delivery, especially against right-handers. A very, very good athlete on the mound. He can cover bunts. He just does a great job out there. But I think that sidearm delivery is what makes BK unique in what he does out there.
And now the dangerous Lance Berkman, switch hitter in from the left side. And yesterday he went deep for the 11th time this year. Opposite field shot. And he's got power. I mean, big power to all fields.
He's just unbelievable. You look at some of his numbers, but what makes him so nice is that he's got more power from the left side, but his batting average is higher on the right side. But so which side do you pitch to? I'm not sure. You just hope he hits it at somebody. He's that good of a player.
Yeah, he had a bit of a down year last year, but he battled all kinds of injuries. He had 293, 24 home runs, 82 driven in 132 games. But he's healthy again this year. And Phil Garner was saying earlier, one of the reasons they're better, at least the first 5 weeks of the season offensively, is that this guy's healthy.
Oh, this guy carries your team just like, you know, you put him in the third spot like Todd Helton hits third for the Rockies, and he just makes your lineup so much better.
Good spot there.
Yeah,
with
that
that
was
fastball.
good spot by BK. You know, that's what you want to try to do, is paint him away and then come in occasionally when you have to.
That's a good spot also. I mean, if you're going to miss, that's a pretty good location.
Well, you can already see that BK's working down. He's trying to work away here. That ball just runs just off the plate just a little bit, but you're exactly right, Drew. That's the good location right there.
That's a fair ball down the right field line past the diving Todd Helton. And Hobb goes and gets it in the corner. And Berkman will stop at second base. So a 2-out double.
It wasn't a bad pitch. After going away, he comes in on Berkman. It actually sounded like he broke his bat a little bit, but that's how good a hitter he is. He can break his bat and still keep the ball fair past the diving Todd Helton.
Here are the Rockies defensively. It'll be Holiday, Sullivan, and Hopp in the outfield. Atkins, Barmes, Carroll at second base tonight. Helton back at first base, and Ardouin has the gear on once again, catching Byung-Hyun Kim. He caught him in Florida. Plenty of experience catching him last year. Morgan Ensberg steps in and fouls off the first pitch. You know, with Danny behind the plate, you don't want a guy catching Byung-Hyun Kim that hasn't spent some time working with him. It can't be an easy assignment.
No, you're right, because you look at him, he hesitates a little bit, then he'll come and throw, and he's throwing from the three-quarter, almost sidearm delivery. You need an experienced guy, somebody that's handled him before, and that's why Danny's behind the plate tonight.
To Ensberg, that just missed.
You look at Ensberg's open stance. It stands a little bit like Garrett Atkins in that they both start open, but they get closed. And you think, okay, where do I try to pitch this guy? You still want to try to pitch him away, though, because you don't want to work into that power on the inner third of the plate.
Two balls and a strike.
Take a look at the open stance. You see right here where his foot is. He wants to get it back right in this area right here. And you see once the pitch comes, that's where he gets to.
BK's got a lot of life on his fastball. He's been 90-91 with his fastball. And that fastball at 88 right at the knees. Good spot. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Lance Berkman is at second base. Morgan Ensberg at the plate. All-star third baseman a year ago.
This is where BK can come back with that slider that he starts in the same spot. Looks like a fastball to Ensberg and work away with it.
That's where they set up. Boy, that was the pitch that you called for. I mean, and that was perfectly executed.
It was. He hit his spot. It's just Morgan just did a good job of laying off it. This is a tough spot. He started to go and at the last second realized that that was a little tight slider that BK wanted to work out away.
And ball 4. So BK walks Ensberg. 2 on now for Preston Wilson. Now Wilson is hitting only .224. However, in his career, you know, some guys have other guys' numbers, and Preston has BK's number. You may have watched the pregame show. Keith Blyer mentioned this. Preston in his career is 10 for 14 against Byung-Hyun Kim.
Preston knows this going into a game. You know when you have success against certain pitchers, other pitchers you don't have any success against. And it's one of those things that you feel confident, and even when you're going up there, you say, throw whatever you want because I got a chance here.
A little different stance for Preston Wilson. He's mired in a bad slump. And Gary Gaetti, the hitting coach, who's quite a hitter in his own day, worked with him about keeping his head still. It's paid off. He's hit better of late. This is fought off to right, and it's going to drop. He came through again. That'll bring around a run. 11 for 15 for Wilson, and it's 1-0 Houston. Going to third base is Ensberg. Berkman scores.
You're right, Drew. He just fought this pitch off. It went in on his hands, and he just pulled his hands in a little bit and just drove it to the right side. Not a bad pitch considering the location, and it was 1-0. You would think that he would try to do a little bit more, but Preston stayed on that ball and just hit it, you know, out of the reach of Brad Hopp in right field.
Jason Lane, 208 average. He has 6 home runs. Wilson a threat to steal. He already has 1 game this year where he has 2 stolen bases in a game. Knees are feeling better. Two and up. That's the 24th pitch of this first inning for BK. Got the first 2, Biggio and Tavares. Fly ball and a strikeout. Then Berkman doubled. Ensberg walked, and Preston Wilson hit a fly ball single down the right field line. Went to the slider 2-0. That's 2-1.
Well, that's a good pitch. Those are the pitches that you need to be able to throw when you're behind in the count. 2-0. A guy sitting on a fastball. And a good hitter like Jason Lane, although he's not hitting that high for an average, you know, major league hitter is going to jump on a 2-0 fastball.
Popped up in the infield. And the catch made by Danny Ardwet. A couple of hits and a run for the Houston Astros. Rockies and Todd Helton getting ready when we come. Astros up a run as the Rockies get ready to go offensively, and here's their lineup. Corey Sullivan will lead it off for Clint Hurdle tonight. He's done a nice job all year long. Then Jamie Carroll in the 2-hole. Todd Helton 3, of course. Garrett Atkins, Matt Holliday, Brad Hopp leading the league in hitting will hit 6 tonight. Clint Barmas out of his customary 2 spot. He hasn't been producing enough for Clint Hurdle, and he slides down to the 7-hole. Danny Ardwin and Byung-Hyun Kim. And here's a good look at one of the top prospects in the Astros organization, Taylor Buchholz. And what a start to his big league career, Jeff.
He's had a great start. He's got a fastball. He sits around 93 with this fastball, good hard slider. But he's got this curveball, 12-6, a knee buckler. Be interesting to see how it does at this altitude. But he does have outstanding control for such a young guy.
Now, Buchholz, you want to hear numbers that are impressive. This is his 4th big league start. He has 6 appearances. It'll be 5 appearances. This will be his 6th. As a starter, his first 3 starts, the opposition is hitting 101. 7 hits in 21 innings. That's it.
That is it. The interesting thing about that is the number 3 hitter is hitting 364. That's the only guy that's had any success so far against Taylor in the young season.
That's why they hit in the 3-hole, huh?
That's
Boy,
why
that was nasty. We were worried about the slider and seeing if it would break. That thing fell off the table.
It did. I think that might have answered the question early on at least. But look at that thing. That's why we talk about a 12-6, just like on a clock. You look at the clock from 12-6, and that's what that did.
Leaves this up, and it's hit pretty well. Tavares going back. Still going back, and that almost got over his head. Willie had to turn around. So a long drive by Corey Sullivan, 1 out. Here's Houston defensively. They have Wilson in left field, Tavares in center. Jason Lane's good outfielder, he's in right. Ensberg at third, very good shortstop, smooth fielder in Adam Everett. Craig Biggio back at second base the last couple of years. Berkman's at first now. And a fine receiver in Brad Ausmus, a couple of gold gloves a few years back. Jamie Carroll. And Carroll takes a pitch out of the strike zone, ball 1. Marty Foster is calling balls and strikes tonight. Fielding Colbreth is at first base. Bill Wilkie at second, and the crew chief Tim McClellan's at third. Chop to third. That's a fair ball over the head of Ensberg, and double territory for Jamie Carroll.
Jamie Carroll just brings a lot to the table. I like what Clint did, sliding him up to the #2 spot. He can handle the bat a little bit. But I tell you what, sets it up right here for Todd Helton.
You bet. So Todd comes back to the plate after missing 14 games. And the thing that pleased him the most, as frustrating as it was for him to watch, is that the club went 8-6, and most of the work by the Rockies during his absence was on the road. So 8-6 without their best player. Pretty good stuff. And Helton hits the first pitch on the ground. Berkman flips the buckle. It's 2 outs.
Have all those nerves after sitting. Now, even a veteran guy like Todd Helton's played forever in the big leagues. When you come back after sitting out for 14, 15 days, you still have the nerves as a rookie. I'm sure he gets that first one out of the way. He's happy about that. Now he can move on.
Garrett Atkins at 333 steps in. Done a terrific job with runners in scoring position. 394. Rockies have the equalizer at third.
It's interesting to see with Taylor Buchholz with the runner on third base, even though there's 2 outs, a lot of times you'll see these guys go from the stretch just to make sure they can't get that little extra lead or possibly a balk in this situation. It's just unusual to go out of the windup.
Atkins hits it hard, but right at Biggio. He was positioned perfectly. Rockies got a double from Jamie Carroll, could not bring him around. We'll go to the second inning, 1-0 Houston. Astros leading 1-0 as we go to the top of the second inning. Clint Barman's back after missing the last couple of days. He had to go to back home. His cousin, 21-year-old, passed away, obviously way before his time. And our condolences to the Barmas family. We're going to focus in tonight on Clint, the position he plays. It's our position spotlight night. We're going to be looking at one of the toughest spots on the diamond, the shortstop position. Here's Brad Ausmus hitting out of the 7-hole. And he checks his swing, but that was in there for a strike.
And Brad's off to probably one of his best starts he's had. I mean, he's hitting 347, 4th in the National League. And here's a guy that's typically around the 250-ish mark, very solid behind the plate, but not known as an offensive type of player.
Well, he's a career 255 hitter. He's been around a long time because he's such a good handler of pitchers. And you know what? He's kind of like one of those old school catchers, Jeff. I mean, he hits enough, and he's a tough out in that, you know, he doesn't give away at bats.
No, and hitting in the 7th spot for this team, that's a perfect situation for him. Nice pitch by BK right there. He set him up with the pitches in a little bit. Worked him away right there for the strikeout.
Well, he had a chance to catch up with Clint Barmas back at spring training. Here's a little of the conversation.
My greatest game in baseball is by far easily the opening day of last year. Never hit a walk-off in my life, so I mean that was pretty neat, pretty special. To do it off a Hall of Famer was it only makes it that much better.
That future Hall of Famer that he was alluding to, Trevor Hoffman, of course. Adam Everett. One of the first things that jumped out at me when we were doing our homework on the Houston Astros, Adam Everett's hitting out of the 8-hole, and he's got 17 RBIs.
Well, for an 8th-hole hitter to have 17 RBIs already tells you what the kind of production that they're getting from throughout their whole lineup. And certain nights the top's not going to hit. You need guys in the bottom to be able to do it.
Not going to drive anybody in with that swing. Great pitch by BK.
That was another great pitch by BK. That slider from the side that we're talking about, and it just works it away. And you sit there and you fish at it thinking, oh, I'm gonna finally reach it, and it just keeps going away from you.
Everett tied for first in the National League among shortstops in runs batted in with that man, Clint Barnes. Taylor Buckholt's up there, and he takes strike one. He's looking for his first big league hit. We've had interesting weather the last few days. Each night we've been told before the game, chance that we're going to be in a delay situation, could be a lot of rain tonight. And it rained a little bit 2 nights ago. They played through it last night. It looked ominous all night, never rained. And tonight, the Rockies during batting practice, they got the first group through, and then it started to rain a little bit. They put the tarp on the field. Houston never did get out there. But we haven't, you know, it's never really come down. And right now it looks as good as it has all day. BK strikes out the side. 1-0 Houston, middle of 2.
It's good to see Preston Wilson back at Coors Field, but he is in the wrong uniform, and he's already driven in a run for the Houston Astros. Enjoying the music between innings here. 1-0 Astros as we go to the second inning. Keith Plyer down by the Rockies dugout. Yeah, I guess it's no surprise that Preston Wilson got a hit off BK. I mean, those stats against Byung-Hyun Kim are ridiculous. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that, Drew and Jeff. 11 for 15 now against one specific pitcher, and it's also not a surprise that the Astros scored in the first inning tonight. Houston so far this season, a big reason they're 19-9. Houston has now outscored their opponents in the first innings of games 29-7. Now here's the good news as Matt Holliday steps in against Taylor Buckholtz. The good news is, even though the Astros have that great record, they've actually been outscored from the second inning on in ball games so far this year. Back upstairs.
Well, they're finding ways to win, and that's a pretty impressive stat Keith just gave you. Here's Matt Holliday, and he swings at the first pitch, and he drives it down the left field line. Wilson comes up with it quickly. Holliday's got to dig for second, and he'll arrive with a double. That almost started to slide a little too late. Finished it around the outfield.
You see him smiling there. We'll take a look at this swing right here. Gets out in front on this breaking pitch just a little bit, but keeps his hands back enough. But he knows when he hits it, the thing about this, why he gets a double, is he's digging right out of the box. He knows Preston's running away. It's tough for him to gather himself, plant, make a good strong throw. But we'll see on his slide here, sometimes those bases get a little bit wet with the dew and the moisture in the air. You slide over the top of them.
Well, we're going to have some fun with Matt because he's had some interesting slides this year. We're going to have to put a little montage together at some point. Breaking pitch in there for a strike. As Brad Hopp takes his turn. Rockies and Reds, 64 doubles leading the National League. This ball pulled foul.
That stat we just showed you, when you're hitting doubles, that means you're hitting the ball properly. You know, it sounds very simplistic like that, but that means you're using the whole field to hit with. If you were just hitting singles or home runs or something, you're probably pulling the ball a lot more. But when you're hitting doubles, that means you're really driving the ball all over the ballpark.
0-2 on Brad Hopp, trying to move Holiday along at the very least. Good eye. There's a difference right now. Talk about comfort level. That's a pitch Brad may have swung at middle of last summer before, you know, right after he came back from the injury.
I saw the comment he made that said last year, you know, I would go up there at times and swing at the pitcher's pitch just to put the ball in play. Now he's saying, hey, I'm seeing pitches. I'm getting my pitch to hit.
And Hopp drives this to center field and deep. Holiday a tag. Taveras comes up with it, and Brad Hopp does his job. Behind in the count, he got a pitch away from him up in the zone, and he lifted it to deep center field. So with one out, another fly ball bring Holiday home with the equalizer. Clint Barmes is coming up. Let's get another player profile on the Rockies shortstop.
Do I have any superstitions? Obviously my socks. I don't know if it's a superstition or if it's just something that feels comfortable. I've always worn my pants up ever since I was in the Little League. So I don't know why, I've never changed.
It wouldn't feel right if Barmes came out in the
long pants.
Yeah, the long
down to
pants. No. Clint Barmes at 245, and because he doesn't walk much, that's why he was dropped in the lineup.
It's interesting to see that the Astros already have their infield in the second inning.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that shows me that, hey, Phil Garner thinks it's going to be a close ball game. 1 or 2 runs might decide this thing.
Very unusual early in a ball game, particularly at this ballpark. So we'll see how it plays out. Plenty of holes out there for Barmes. And it's 2-0.
As a hitter, you look at this and you say, wow, okay, I just have to put some wood on it somewhere, and you got the Texas leaguer. It's very unusual because the last thing you want to have is a big inning, and that's what'll happen sometimes when you bring the infield in so early.
2 balls and a strike. Barmes is one of those guys, Jeff, and there are really 2 kinds of players. There's a lot of, you know, psychologically, there's all different makeups, as you know, but there's guys that you got to pat on the back, and there's guys that can kick in the butt a little bit and challenge him, and he's been challenged. Dropped from the 2-hole to the 7-hole, and I bet you he responds.
Knowing the type of player he is, he challenges himself, but sometimes you need somebody else to challenge you to say, okay, I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to prove you wrong, basically. Here he needs to just shorten up his swing with the 2-2. Good chance that curveball is going to be thrown right here.
And he beat him with a fastball. Now they can back the infield up, and Danny Arduin will come up with 2 outs. Let's check in again with Dave Benz. Dave?
Hey, thanks a lot, Drew. The Cardinals and the Marlins from South Florida. Scoreless game, top of the 5th. Albert Pujols, forget about it. 3-run home run, number 16 of the year, part of a 7-run inning for the Cards. They've gone to the bottom of the 5th. It is 7-0. That scoreboard at Coors Field needs to be updated.
They'll get it. They'll get it. Danny Arduin takes high, ball 1. Sometimes in these types of situations, you'd pass on the 8-hole hitter and go right to the pitcher, but Danny's been struggling with the bat, and Buchholz is going to go after him. And a wild pitch, man. Holiday thought about it, but the brick wall now, that was a slingshot right back to Brad Ausmus. He'd have been out by 30 feet.
It was just an unfortunate break for the Rockies. Taylor throws a wild pitch here, just gets by Ausmus, but it comes back so hard, like one of those pitch ball nets you used to have when we were a little kid. You throw it, and how can you catch it? Came right back to him.
The pitch back.
Pitch back, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
You knew what I meant, though.
Got one. Pretty good product. Two and 1 on Arduin.
Well, that's a pitch we're talking about right there. 2-0 fastball. And Danny's just unfortunate, hasn't been able to come up with that big hit early on in a hitter's type count. You know you're struggling a little bit when you miss those type of pitches.
Shallow center field, and that's not even going to get to center field, just out behind second base. Easy play for Adam Everett. So Holiday left at third base, 1-0. Back upstairs with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman, and Jeff has reached deep into the closet tonight, dug out all his old gloves from his playing days. And Jeff played everywhere. Played in the middle of the infield, first base, the outfield.
Got a couple different ones here.
What do you got?
This was the baby, the one that didn't show up until the game time. Didn't break it out. I didn't even use it in pregame warm-up. Here's a brand new glove that had to pull out of the wrapper. There you go. And this one kind of looks like the Walt Weiss old glove. I mean, yeah, this has seen some action. It's just like your baby. You know how somebody goes to work with their tools. This was my tool. Well, the glove to players, it's gold. They know where their gloves are. There's Biggio doing his thing, and Holiday slides. Biggio's going to have himself a double. That was an ugly slide also. A leadoff double for Craig Biggio. For Craig Biggio, he now has 600. I think how many doubles it is. 617 doubles in his career. That is unbelievable, and he's leading the National League in that department. He is 40. The 617 is 10th all time. He's chasing down Henry Aaron, who's at 624, so probably pass him in a couple of weeks. Willie Taveras tried to bunt Biggio over, and he fouls it back. You know, one of the areas of concern right now for the Colorado Rockies, go back to that last half inning, and it's come up quite a bit over the last week or 10 days. The bottom half of the lineup, not the bottom half, the bottom third of the lineup is not producing much. Well, it's not, and that's the unfortunate thing, is you got to be able to manufacture some runs when you have to.
Great backup by Jamie Carroll. If Jamie Carroll doesn't get there, Biggio scores.
We talk about it. It seems like every night we talk about Jamie Carroll doing something to help the ball club. And Taveras lays down a beautiful bunt right here down the third base line. Garrett comes in, has to barehand and makes a high throw. But look at where Jamie is right there. Most second basemen would have still been watching the plate. What we like to say is buy a ticket, because that's all they were doing, is just watching it like a fan. But not Jamie Carroll. He's into every play and backing up there. And you're right, Drew, that ball gets by in the corner. Taveras could end up on second, possibly third, and Biggio scores.
Nobody out. Biggio and Taveras have set the table for Berkman. Berkman had a double down the right field line his first time up. Houston leading 1-0.
This is a guy right here. I mean, Berkman's had an RBI in 8 straight ball games and a total of 15 RBIs during that time. So tough man right here at the plate.
And the 36 ribbies leading baseball. Berkman has a hit 12 of his last 13. He's averaged third in the National League. Product of Rice University.
I think what makes him such a great hitter is that he hits from both sides of the plate almost equally as well. He has a little bit more power from the left side, but I mentioned it earlier in the open that from the right side he's a better average hitter.
Good speed at first, and Taveras, he stretches out the lead a little bit. It's a good job by Young Kim.
That is. And a lot of times you would think with Taveras at first, you don't want him to go because take away the hole that Berkman can hit through, but he can hit it so many different places in the field. If you have another opportunity to steal a base, to get a guy into scoring position, be better for the Astros.
2 balls and a strike. Second start for Byung-Hyun Kim. Had the hamstring injury right at the end of spring training. He basically missed the month of April.
And the other thing this does here is with the fast runner, Barmy has to worry about the runner as well as the hitter too.
Swung on and missed, 2-2.
Just a good pitch by BK right here. A little upshoot fastball, got over his hands a little bit. Lance just couldn't catch up with it.
Berkman's not an easy guy to strike out, especially for a guy that hits a lot of home runs. He has struck out just a dozen times this year in 109 at-bats.
And the thing about him is you can't play him any certain way. I mean, he hits to left, he hits to center, and probably right field is his worst position as far as hits wise. You know, he uses the whole field that way.
Taveras goes, and it's fouled off. Well, let's take a look at the spray chart on Lance Berkman, and it supports what you were talking about.
You see right here, you know, left field for a hitter, you know, you try to use the middle of the field, and that's exactly what he does. When you start to pull the ball too much, you're giving up the outer part of the plate. But a good contact hitter like Berkman, that's what makes him such a good hitter.
Taveras stays, and the pitch is inside, 3-2. That's a pitch you could tell by the facial reaction of Byung-Hyun Kim that he really wanted. But Marty Foster didn't give it to him.
Well, that's the pitch that he needs. Probably what they're going to do, knowing Garner, having played for him, probably going to start the runner here to open up some more holes and to get some action going. You see Biggio making some hand signs there.
Swung on and missed. Throw goes through. It's in the dirt. No movement from Biggio, so a stolen base for Taveras, his second. And a big out at the plate, Berkman. Well, that'd have been something that the Rockies could have got to strike him out, throw him out.
Well, like you said, not very often you're going to get Berkman to kind of chase out of the zone, but Clint did a good job of staying with that ball, keeping it from going to center field. You know, Danny had a little bit of a trouble because Lance was falling over the plate just a little bit. It's a tough spot for the catcher because you also have to worry about the guy at third base. You kind of peek at the corner of your eye to see if he's going.
Ensberg swinging a miss. Ensberg walked his first time up. There's a bunch of Southern Cal alum in this game for the Houston Astros. Ensberg, a big star there. Jason Lane in the lineup. Eric Munson was a tremendous corner player at USC. He comes off their bench, the former Tiger. Swung on and missed again. It's 0-2.
Two identical pitches from Kim in the same spot, almost the same miles per hour. This one was 87. That upshoot fastball that he throws, it's so difficult for a right-handed hitter to pick up that arm motion from BK. Now he can go back up there. He can go the slider away. He's got so many more options right now.
He went right after him. That looked like strike 3. It is. Fielding Colbreth punches him out. 6 strikeouts for Byung-Hyun Kim. Ensberg is gone, though he doesn't want to depart the batter's box.
This is what we were talking about right here. You see his hands. Yeah, he went across there. We talk about the wrist, but it's also the barrel of the bat in relation to the plate.
I'll tell you what, they check. You know, the interesting is Marty Foster, so you can't believe it's strike 3. Marty Foster pointed down to Fielding Colbreth. I thought the pitch was a strike anyhow.
I did too. That was the thing about it, is maybe the umpire maybe Marty got froze a little bit by the check swing.
Well, now BK's got to get Wilson, who's 11 for 15 in his career against him. You know, we were talking about this when he came up, and then Keith had a little bit about how Wilson has owned Byung-Hyun Kim. and I immediately thought of Sean Green and Mike Hampton. That's left on left, and for whatever reason, Sean Green just ate up Mike Hampton. I had Doug Marino look up the numbers. I'll share them with you in a moment. Here's the 0-1, and it's a line drive to right, and he's done it again. Hop comes up with a baseball. It'll score 2 runs. You got to be kidding me. I mean, 2 balls really off the end of the bat, and Wilson's driven in all 3 tonight. And that's a pretty good pitch.
That was a good pitch. Once again, it hit off the end of the bat, but when you own somebody, it just seems like you get lucky. And this was a good pitch up and away, and he hit it right off the end of the bat, dumped it into right field. And you can see by BK's reaction in a minute, he's just disappointed because he knows that when a guy owns you, you cannot make even a pitch that close to a hitter like that.
Now Jason Lane, 3-0 Houston. Sean Green against Mike Hampton, 18 for 29, a .621 average with 5 home runs.
That's owning somebody. Just,
and that's a lot of at bats. That's not,
lot.
you know,
Yeah,
that's not like I'm 6 for 8 against a guy.
Right.
And Preston's now 12 for 16 against Kim.
And the thing that Kim's kicking himself about, I'm sure, is he had first base open. Not that you would want to, you know, walk him, but hey, I'm not going to give him anything. I'm going to make him get himself out by a strikeout.
Oh, 2 on Lane. And he's gone. Young Kim has struck out the side again. The good news is he struck out 7 in 3 innings. The bad news is the Rockies trail 3-0 because of Wilson. Young Kim will lead off for the Rockies in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Rockies trail 3-0. They've had opportunities. A runner at 3rd with 1 out in the 1st inning. A runner at 3rd with 1 out in the 2nd inning and could not cash in either one. One ball and 1 strike on Kim. Kim looking for his first hit this year. Rockies are 6-8 at home. 10-5 out on the road. Let's go to the studio again. Dave Benz has another baseball update. Dave?
All right, thanks a lot, Drew. Let's check in on the Phillies taking on the Giants.
A long one to left.
And forget about this. A home run for Aaron Rowans to make it an 8-3 game. Phillies roll tonight. Final 8-3.
Now the Phillies are now over 500. They're a game over 500, Dave. They have won 6 in a row with that victory tonight. You looked at their lineup. You looked at their pitching staff too. Brett Myers, Corey Lytle, Tom Gordon's been terrific in terms of their closer. And yet they got off to a terrible start, which was somewhat surprising, but they're getting it together right now. This ball pulled. And Berkman does a nice job, 2 outs as Sullivan is retired.
I think the key for that whole staff was John Lieber and the awful start he got off to. I mean, the former 20-game winner with the Cubs, won 17 last year for the Phillies. They started the year 0-4. I think that had partly to do with their awful start.
Yeah, for a while there, other than Brett Myers, the rest of the rotation had an ERA above 7. 2 outs, Jamie Carroll, who bounced a double over the head of Morgan Ensberg. His first time up, steps up, and that pitch is down and away from Taylor Buchholz.
I think until Clint Barmas warms up a little bit, starts hitting a little bit more, I think Jamie Carroll's a perfect guy for this, for the 2nd spot in the lineup.
What's happened for the Rockies is part of the problem we were alluding to at the bottom of their lineup. The lower 3rd is Luis Gonzalez, who you figure is going to be a great 7-hole hitter, 292 in each of his first 2 big league seasons with some pop, and guy that gets doubles. He has not hit yet this year, and he's lost playing time because of it to Jamie Carroll. Ground ball right side on through, base hit. So Jamie's on for the 2nd time, and that'll bring Helton up.
That was just a good swing by Jamie. He just kind of went with the pitch. But you're right. He just adds another dimension hitting in that spot right there. He can pull the ball, and here he goes just with the fastball away and just hits the ball where it's pitched. Hits it in the hole between 1st and 2nd. But you're right. Gonzo was the guy, and he will be again. He'll get his opportunities. He's just refining some stuff with his swing. Has not translated going from batting practice into the game just yet. I think we take it for granted that quickly, as Brad Hopp did it, it's not that easy to do what you do in BP and translate it into the game.
Ball 1 on Helton. He looked at 1 pitch his first time up and hit it on the ground at Ensberg. Or excuse me, at Berkman. It up to left field. Preston Wilson makes the catch, and the Rockies are done in their half of the 3rd inning. Houston with a 3-0 advantage. Taylor Buchholz is throwing the ball well. Taco Bell game reset in the 1st inning. Houston would get a double with 2 outs from Ensberg, and then the bloop single to right off the bat of Preston Wilson made it 1-0. Bergman came around, and then with 2 outs, Wilson did it again. He drove in 2 runs. Biggio and Taveras, 3-0 Houston. That's where we stand our Taco Bell game reset. Brad Ausmus will lead it off, then Adam Everett, Taylor Buchholz. They all went down on strikes in the 2nd inning. Young Kim, his last outing, struck out a career-high 9 in 6 2/3 in Miami against the Marlins. He's got 7 already tonight. Ball and 1 strike. One thing about the game of baseball, I think, to people who watch it on television, obviously most of us didn't have the pleasure and privilege of playing at the big league level. It moves down there so much faster than people realize. We're going to discuss that a little bit tonight. You're also going to hear a soundbite from the Rockies manager on that in a few moments, Clint Hurdle. And Jeff, again, people look in, they see guys standing around, but that's not the case at all.
Well, it's not, and it does look easy when you're sitting at home, you know, from whatever angle they're showing from the center field here. It's oh, you get a nice easy pitch. Oh, how did he swing at that sort of thing. And it does look easy, and at times I understand it because I watch other sports and I look at it, but I tell you what, it's not that easy.
And Clint Hurdle was talking about that before the ball game.
On TV, it looks really simplistic. Somebody should be able to do it. The great players have the ability to slow the game down. A fan gets the game slowed down for him, which is a dramatic difference, but it just makes it look way easier than it is to play.
That was a good comment. It does. It looks much easier on TV. Even up here in the booth, sometimes it looks much easier. And I have to remind myself how difficult this game really is to play.
Difficult to hit the ball right now for Houston. They've struck out 8 times against Byung-Hyun Kim. The difference is Preston Wilson, a couple of end of the bat hits to right field with runners on. And look at this. This could be a problem. It will be. Everett off the end of the bat to right field on an 0-2 pitch.
You know, we saw the shot just a little bit ago. We're talking about focusing in on shortstops right now. Some of the things that are going through a shortstop's mind in between pitches, a lot of times we'll come to the ball game and we'll just see him, oh, doesn't look like much is happening in between. They might be kicking some dirt, but there's a lot of things that are going through their minds right now.
Buchholz with a good bunt, one play, that's first. Carroll covers, 2 outs.
You know, a lot of times with you know, whether it's at first base or second base, the shortstop's already looking ahead. He's checked out the manager. Maybe he'll pick something up from them. He'll look at the third base coach. He might have to reposition himself a little bit because a different hitter's up. This guy's a pull hitter. He hits opposite. You know, you check the runner. You're looking at signs. You're doing a lot of different things. You'll check the runner again before the pitcher comes set just to make sure. Oh, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, now you got to worry about the guy hitting the ball. Well, here he's looking at the manager. Maybe he'll pick something up. Look at the third base coach. See if he gives any signs, and he'll check the runner. Hey, how far is he getting off? Now look at the sign from the catcher. Figure out what's going to be coming here.
Good pitch, 1-1.
That's a very good pitch. You know, these are the things that happen in between pitches that I don't think fans, even people in the ballpark tonight, realize what's going on. They think, oh, it's just dead time in between pitches.
No, not the case at all. 1 ball and 1 strike. On the ground, on through. Biggio's done it again. He just drove in the 4th run. There was a ball game 3 nights ago. The Rockies lost 5-4 in Atlanta. All 5 runs relinquished came with 2 outs. All 4 runs so far in this ball game against Young Kim with 2 outs.
Well, you see, he just hit a fastball that's just out of the reach of a diving Barmas, and Clint did a good job there as a shortstop. You realize with 2 outs, you just want to try to knock the ball down. You're not necessarily going to make the play every time, but keep the runner from scoring.
It's been the combination through the years that has hurt Young Kim. Preston Wilson tonight, and Biggio has torn up the Rockies, particularly here at Coors Field. 408 average coming in. He's 2 for 3 tonight. It's a really strange ball game. It's 4-0. Buchholz is pitching very well, and if you've watched, you get the feeling that Kim's pitching pretty well also, and yet he's down 4-0, and you wonder the way Buchholz is pitching if he's going to give up 4.
Well, you wonder. BK's, I mean, with the 8 strikeouts, just a couple pitches that you know, were hit in spots that there wasn't a feel that that's going to happen sometimes, but you're right. You wonder what's going to happen with Taylor and the rookie and how he's going to react. Unfortunately, the Astros are 15-2 when they score 4 or more runs, so the Rockies have their work cut out for them.
Two and 1 on Willie Taveras. Bunt single last time.
You see Barmy's kind of checking everything out. I talked about a little bit earlier. He's looking in at the sign right now, giving the coverage to the second baseman, open mouth. You've got it.
Runner going, it's fouled off. So Biggio will come back.
You know, we talk about it sometimes. You just saw Barmy with the open mouth. Open mouth means you have it. Closed mouth means me. You know, each guy does a little bit different things. The second baseman sometimes will give the sign back. Other times they'll just nod their head or shake. Right there, he's saying you've got coverage again.
Ground ball, BK stabs it. And he fires. There was a little anger in that throw to first base. Another run for Houston. 4-0, they lead. Astros leading the Rockies 4-0. Clint Hurdle had a funny line, which is not surprising for him. Also about the speed of the game.
Indy racing doesn't look that difficult to me, but I'll never get in one of those cars and even take a trial lap, because the reality of it is I'm chicken, I'm scared, and I don't want any part of it. But on TV, it looks like, you know, okay, if you do that, all you gotta do is keep veering left. I mean, you never take a right. When you get low on fuel, you pull over, right? You need some new tires. You got everybody taking care of you.
About how easy the game looks on television sometimes. And he's right. Auto racing, they never look like they're going 225 miles an hour, do
no,
they?
It doesn't matter. I mean, basketball doesn't look, oh, you know, that's a nice shot. You don't realize how difficult.
Off the plate, 2-1 on Garrett Atkins.
Football is the same way. How you know, how can he miss that pass? Or whatever it is, it's a lot more difficult. And I like what he said. During his press conference, he said, you know what? Even when I'm in the dugout, it's not quite as fast as it was when I was playing.
Three balls and a strike on Garrett Atkins. Rockies need to get something going. Let's ask our Affleck question.
Affleck!
Look at Phil Garner, who are the only two players to appear in Nolan Ryan's 7th no-hitter and Cal Ripken Jr.'s 2,131st game when he tied Lou Gehrig for the Ironman streak. I have a pretty good idea who one of those guys is.
I know the other one.
Do you?
Yeah.
So between the two of us, we have it right?
We got the right answer, I think.
I'm thinking you should know the answer. I mean, that's your era, right?
That is my era, yes.
Didn't you play for all 30 teams?
29.
29?
Yeah. As long as they were going to keep giving me a uniform, I was going to keep playing.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Holiday double his first time up. Three hits for the Rockies. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rockies lost 7-1 yesterday. Struck out 13 times. Second highest in a game this year for Colorado. Aaron Harang was dominant. 2-1.
He was pretty good last night, Aaron. He had a good fastball, kept the guys off balance a little bit. It was really the first game all year that just didn't feel like towards the end there wasn't much of an opportunity to score.
No, you're right. Ground ball right side on through, base hit. Atkins, he'll stop at second base. And Matt Holliday is 2 for 2. Well, let's give you the answer to our Affleck trivia question. Who played in Cal Ripken's record-tying ball game, and who was also part of Nolan Ryan's 7th no-hitter. One of these guys was also part of the 6th no-hitter with Nolan Ryan as well. Who's the guy who started? I'm trying to remember. Left side of the infield. Who started next to Ripken that day in Baltimore?
That would be me.
That was you.
Yes.
Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it was fun.
And you were around for Ryan's 2 no-hitters also.
Yes.
You and Palmero.
And his 300th win, but we won't get into that.
How nervous? You told me this story once. I'm asking you to regurgitate this. Brad hops up there, and it's inside ball 1. How nervous were you in the no-hitters late in the ball game?
Oh, very nervous. I had made a play in the 6th no-hitter off of Ricky Henderson to make it the 2nd out, and I got the ball, tossed it back to Nolan. He looked at me and said, "Nice play, Huey." And as I was jogging back to shortstop, I was just praying to God they wouldn't hit me another ball.
No slow rollers that could go either way. Hop pulls one foul. Well, it'd be nice to see Brad run into one here. Get the Rockies right back in it.
Watch this ball. Brad got out in front of it a little bit. And oh, watch the camera. Good job getting out of the way there. Hope the camera's okay. Oh, little major repair.
Two and one.
The Rockies have the right guy up there, the National League leader in hits, or second in hits, right behind Berkman, is Hop.
Prince Fielder, after a slow start, has really come on. Looking rookie class so far in 2006. Taylor Buchholz is a rookie this year in the breaking pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Atkins at second base, he walked. Matt Holliday is single to right field. He's at first base. Plenty of room in left center field. Tavares swung over toward right.
Good job by Brad right there, just trying to foul that pitch off till he can get another good pitch to hit. Threw in the breaking pitch right before that, kind of got long with his swing, came back with the fastball thinking they could get him to swing through it, but he got just enough to foul it off. You mentioned Tavares being over in the right center field gap a little bit. They don't understand that Brad's been hitting the ball all over.
Pulled to first. High throw into left field. Atkins will score. Holliday to third. Hop rounds and stops at first. Maybe that'll open up the gates for the Rockies. A double play ball, and Lance Berkman fired it into left field. The shortstop Everett didn't have a chance.
It wasn't even in the vicinity. Lance comes up right here. Nice easy double play ball if there's ever going to be one. Took it out of his glove and just slung it sidearm. Adam Everett didn't have any chance right there. Matt does a good job of going all the way to third base, realizing how far Preston Wilson had to go for that ball.
Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, coming out to the mound. More than anything, this is to make sure his young pitcher doesn't get out of whack here. Hey, listen, you made a good pitch, should have 2 outs. It happens. Nobody feels worse than Lance Berkman. 4-1. And now first and third, still nobody out. This is a big at bat for Clint Barmes. He struck out with a runner in scoring position his first time up. And hitting out of that 7 hole, an opportunity to drive in a run here at the very least. Here's a little bit more tonight on Clint Barmes as we focus in on the Rockies' young shortstop.
My favorite player growing up as a kid, that was Ozzie Smith. You know, I was a big St. Louis fan. I don't do much of anything like Ozzie does, but I used to try, and I never could do the backflip.
Not many guys could do a backflip like Ozzie.
Well, there's a lot of guys that tried to imitate him, but nobody could duplicate what Ozzie did.
Ball 1 on Barmes. Best defensive shortstop you ever seen, Ozzie Smith?
Yes. He was fun to play against just because he always had a smile on his face. Always enjoyed being at the ballpark and playing.
Line drive up the middle, glove there. There's one on the first, not in time. Barmes got up the line. Holliday scores. It's 4-2. So an RBI for Barmes as he smoked it up the middle, and Everett made a good play to smother it and then flip it to Biggio.
Clint just hit this ball so hard. Adam Everett did a good job at stopping it and just trying to get a double play, but you could see Barmy knows right away that he's got to dig. Once he saw that Adam Everett made that throw to Biggio at second base, that he needed to get there and stay out of the double play. Nice hustle by Clint down the line.
Arduin popped out to short his first time up.
See Danny right there take a deep breath, try to relax a little bit, loosen the hands up. When we talk about this game being difficult right now, it's a little difficult for Danny at the plate.
There goes Barmes. The throw from Osmus is not in time, and Barmes has a stolen base. He's in scoring position now for Ardouin.
This was a good jump by Clint right here. You see, as soon as Taylor lifts his leg, Clint's gone. And I like this play right here. Get another runner in scoring position. One out. Opens up the field a little bit more. The infielders have to make the long throw if they have to across the diamond.
3 for 3 this year in stolen bases for Barmes. 2-0 pitch. Oh, it's fouled off.
You can see tonight already the Rockies are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. This would be a good opportunity for Danny to drive one of these guys in.
Two and two. Ground ball to short. Now bring up Young Kim with 2 gone. Now the Rockies have to try to get, they're trying, but they have to get more production out of that lower third of the lineup. I mean, there's a reason guys are hitting in the 7 and 8 hole. They're not typically 320 hitters. But they have to get more done down there than they have been. It's one of the reasons that Houston is 19 and 9. And talking to Phil Garner, he said we've been able to ham and egg it. He said we've had some ball games where we've been handled up top. He said, but the guys at the bottom of the order have taken care of us. Ausmus and Everett have been terrific. And Ausmus, top 4 in the National League in hitting. And he's not going to be there all year, but he's been productive the first 5 weeks. And Everett, though his batting average is real stellar, it's .250. He's driven in 17, so he's gotten timely hits, and that really can pick up a ball club.
It can. When the guys at the bottom of the order can drive in some runs, it just seems like it takes the pressure off everybody else, because they realize, hey, if I don't get it done, I got the next guy, and you're not going to have your top of your order be able to do it all the time. That's how successful teams win, when different parts of the whole puzzle work together.
This is in the air. And it's an easy play for the first baseman, Berkman. In the inning, the Rockies come up with a couple of runs, aided by an error on Berkman. 4-2 is the score.
The Rockies get 2 runs back in the 4th inning. We're at Coors Field on a chilly Friday night. Keith Blyer in the stands behind the Astros dugout. And despite the chilly weather, it is, I have to stand up. Now, can you see me? All right, hi, how you doing? Astros fan in front of me. I didn't want to be rude. This is the most wonderful time of the year, despite the chill in the air, because, thank you very much. I dropped my scorecard. All-star ballots, baby. For the first weekend of the season, the All-Star ballots are here at Coors Field as Young Kim faces Berkman and gets him to swing and miss at the first pitch. So I've done my my homework, and I have my National League picks. This is performance oriented. This is not by popularity. Got to go with Pujols at first base, Drew and Jeff. Not Todd, not yet. A hot shot by Berkman, but that's the first out of the inning. Pujols hit his 16th homer, by the way, tonight. Biggio, look at 4 of my 9 selections are in this ball game, by the way. Biggio's been a favorite of mine for years, but is having a great season, hitting over 300. Garrett Atkins, even though he's been dropping off a little bit, still deserves an all-star nod at third base. Omar Vizquel, probably not the most popular choice if I ask Jose Mesa, but he's been very good for the Giants. You talked about Ausmus hitting nearly 350. Not sure if that average is going to drop. If he keeps it up, he's certainly on my team. Brad Hawk leading all hitters in the National League at 373 heading into this game. Why does he only have 19 RBIs? Because all of his home runs have been solo shots. Andrew Jones is the best outfielder in baseball when you consider what he can do in the field and at the plate, my opinion. and Moises Alou would round out my All-Stars. So guys, it's up for debate. The good thing is I can change my mind 25 times because I get to vote 25 times on the internet at MLB.com.
All right, Keith, I'm glad you've got it figured out already. But you know what? That's a pretty good lineup he put together.
Well, it is, and that's the fun thing about voting for the All-Star team. You can vote for, you know, obviously whoever you want, but we can debate till the cows come home who's better at one position or the other.
BK overthrew that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Morgan Ensberg. A lot of guys off to surprising starts. I mean, Biggio and that 40-plus crowd has had a terrific start. He had a career-high 26 home runs last year. Think about that. His 39th year on the planet. Swung on and missed. That is the 9th strikeout of the ball game for Byung-Hyun Kim, which matches his career high set in his last start down in Florida. Let's go to the studio again. Here's Dave Benz.
Hey, thanks a lot, Drew. The Nationals and the Pirates. Nick Johnson, this is the first of 2 home runs for him on the day. Oh, speaking of day, Zach Day, 7 scoreless innings as the Nationals win 6-0.
Well, congrats to Zach Day. That was sure a welcome sight for Frank Robinson. He struggled in his first outing with the Washington Nationals. So Zach picks off his first win there back in Washington, where he started last year. Wilson has driven in 3 of the 4 runs tonight. And this is a slow roller at Barnes. Good inning for Byung-Hyun Kim. 1, 2, 3 in the 5th. And the Rockies head to the dugout down 2 runs. They'll have the top of the order when we return.